All righty then. Well, whenever anybody's ready, we'll start. I'll give you a couple minutes to pop on here. I'm just going to set up things. Okay. Color pencils, graph paper, different size lengths, pliers, and we will make 1 more minute and then we'll start. Okay. Are we good to go, by the way?
Yep, you're good to go.
Okay, cool. So, all right, awesome. All right, so they'll be able to see what I'm doing, right?
Yep, I can see your grid paper and your colored pencils and your cool keyboard that lights up. And I also have a cool the cool keyboard stays.
Okay.
we need the cool feedback keyboard.
Nope. That's actually my daughter's because I spilled coffee on mine.
I'm still saying those are the best kind of keyboards.
Oh yeah. She got that for Christmas and I was like, why do you need that? She goes, it's cool. I'm like, okay, you're right. It is.
It's all about the mechanical feedback to it. I'm never going back.
No, it is. Nope. And apparently this thing does the whole light shifting thing in multiple colors. And she showed me and I forgot. That's okay. So we are going to wait for I know we're waiting for a couple more minutes, so I'm just going to do something very, very cool and funky. I'm going to start sketching on here. Some people pop in, they can see what I'm doing. Get color pencils. Okay, come on. Get out. Oh, of course you're going on. Of course you are. All right, so we got all our different color pencils here. Down. Okay. All right. And so for everybody that's watching this, I want to thank you for joining the class. This is Chainmail Design, and what it is a class on how to bring your designs that you're going to that you have on paper or that you have a picture of into a chainmail creation. And the first start of that is by working out how you want to look and creating sort of a model sheet for that you can go buy. Blueprinting, okay, and that is the reason that you have the graph paper. Graph paper is representing blocks. Think of it like if you're looking at a computer screen, okay? Like I'm showing my age. We're going way back to 8-bit, okay? Those are little blocks that created a graphic or an image, okay? Same thing with this. And the reason that you do it this way is, and I'm going to show you this because it's really cool, okay? When this is where your rings are come into effect too, okay? When you have rings, okay, and you're making chainmail, okay, the chainmail itself is the image that's in your chainmail comes from how you position your rings, okay?
Can I get you to hold for just 1 second? I hear a lot of background noise of like a cartoon in the background. Can you?
Sure, I'm going to do something really quick, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to actually grab my headphones, okay, put those on really quick, and we'll use that, okay?
Okay.
And that should help out with that. There we go. And we're going to go here and just 1 second.
Aha. That's much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just
It's only when you talk now.
just 1 second. I'm going to mute my audio. Okay. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you.
Okay. Okay, hold on. Yes, I have to go into
I
settings.
understand it's hard to, yeah.
Yeah, let me just get settings. Oh, okay. Okay, I got my settings on here. Audio settings, and there it is. 1 sec. And there we go. How's that?
That's good.
Cool. Okay. Yep.
Huh.
All right. So, yep. Background noise. We have somebody here that's
Oh, it's all good. I understand.
so. Yeah. What we're going to do is I'm going to take my glasses off so I can actually see better. Apologies for that. The rings themselves. Okay. Think of it in this way. The rings will end up creating the image. Okay. And the blocks that you see on this paper, okay, they represent an amount of space that your rings will take up. So depending on the size of the rings depends upon how much the blocks will be taken up. So for example, you have the silver rings, okay, which, you know what, you guys aren't gonna be able to see the silver too well, so I'm gonna pull out the blue ones really quick.
I'm like, we need to start this from the beginning.
Okay. So hello.
Hang on
Hi,
1 second.
I'm
gonna
trying to
turn off
find the
your video.
Dragon Master entry.
Okay, hang on. I can move you where do you need to go. Sorry, this is another class.
Okay.
Hang on 1 second.
Okay.
I love the garb though. I love the garb.
Thank you.
Okay, and also sorry to pause again. Violet, are you also here for Dragon Master? Maybe not. Okay, just keep going then. Go ahead. You can talk, Matthias. Except you're muted.
How do I get muted?
I didn't.
I got muted. Okay, chat. Let me see this. Oh, cool. Well, hello. Hi, Violet. How you doing? You're in Washington or Oregon? Or maybe Idaho. Oh, okay. You're right up near Greenwood Keep. That is the holding that is actually the group that's in Lacey, and they're on Facebook. They're part of the kingdom I'm in, Northern Lights, and so I hope you get to go out and go visit the park and stuff. They're really fun bunch of people, and they have amazing artisans up there too. So it's just really cool. I'm actually down in Longview, so not too far away from you. So like we were saying, basically your rings being different sizes and such. Okay, we're gonna move the silver ones over here for a second because the fact they're hard to see. White paper and all. Sorry about that. So we're gonna use blue ones. Okay. Okay. So, such as the rings themselves determine, okay, how much, how much of the picture is going to be used and vice versa. So, just use them really quick. Okay. You got some of the green ones here for the large ones because that's what I have. Okay. I got a blue one there. Okay. So, okay, you have your green rings and your blue rings. Okay, different sizes, obviously. Okay. You have ones that are about and I'm gonna mess this up, so I'm gonna read the bag. Apologies. Okay. Your blue ones are actually a 5/30 seconds, okay? And 5/30 seconds, and these are a 1/2 inch, okay? And obviously they're for different things. But the reason that we have the different sizes on here today is to show you that when you're working, it doesn't matter what size you're working with. It only matters what your picture you want it to look like, okay? And you will have to adjust what kind of design you have on your picture for the rings at times, okay? So just really quick, sorry about that, separate those, okay. So if you see how big, you can see here, I'm gonna bring this down a little bit so you can see this better, okay? You can see how big the squares are on the graph paper, okay? Now, if say you know, for each of the squares here, okay, we're just gonna do this really quick. We're just gonna do use blue really quick, okay? Okay. So if you were to make a, we'll just say in your design, you were just gonna make a simple sort of a, crescent moon shape, right? Okay. And what you would do is you would take it, okay, and you would just kind of circle and you kind of use the squares here to create the shape you want, okay? And of course, how the shape looks is open for interpretation, obviously, because each person is going to have how they want to look, okay? So if you ever design something on, you know, for chainmail, it's on graph paper, you know, through your graph paper and such, and somebody makes a comment of, well, that's not how I would have done it. Well, that's okay, because you know what? It's not their design, it's your design. So you go with what makes you happy. Okay. So we're gonna go like this. Okay. And that's enough shading a picture for that. Okay. Now, okay. And you know, let's just say that the effectiveness of it is it, you know, goes from this point over to this point, you know, down to here for that, you know, and then over to here. Okay. Let's say that's your square, that's how much you're gonna make. And so, you know, that's how big you want it, okay? Well, you said you're gonna make a blue moon for somebody's heraldry, okay? And let's say it's just gonna be a little belt favor you're gonna make for them, okay? Well, so you've taken your picture, you've transferred your picture onto here, okay? You shade in the squares you're gonna have to make that shape, okay? Now, this size right here obviously is going to be a little bit too small for you to use just those rings, okay? But it would be just the right size if you're going to use those rings, okay? And that's something you need to think about when you're doing the design, is that ratio aspect, okay? So whenever you're designing something, okay, it doesn't, you can create just about anything in chainmail of any size lengths. You just have to sometimes think about how big you want it to be, okay? So going with that, we're gonna put this back up here, okay? Okay, now, I showed you the small one right here, okay? That's awesome. So when that, I just want to show you that to explain when you're figuring out what you want to do, start with the picture you have, okay? And then work out what kind of rings you want to use for it. And by working out what kind of rings you want to use for it, that determines about how your picture's, you know, going to be formed, okay? If you're using bigger rings, okay, you're going to use bigger blocks, okay? Let me show you what I mean, okay? A lot of times when we use bigger rings for doing artwork in chainmail, we have to think about the fact of that bigger rings being a more blocky look to it. Smaller rings
will give it a slightly more defined look. And you can think about that like you would things such as like, computer graphics, video game graphics, things like that. And in that aspect, TV sets, TV sets use, dot per inch ratio. Okay. So of course, the ones that have the larger ratio have the more, defined look, the less grainy, less blocky look. Okay. Same thing with video games. Okay. If you look back to the 80s and stuff versus the video games right now, well, those were using, 8-bit blocks, okay, versus the, of course, much more populated ratio, okay. When the larger you use, okay, for that certain aspect, the more blocky it'll look. That's okay though. That's not a bad thing, okay. If you're wanting to make something big, if you're making something big, you can use. So when you're designing something, I want you to keep this in mind. If you're wanting or you're having to use bigger rings like this, okay, that might be something good for, say, a banner or for a shirt or something. Okay, something that where the area itself can be big, okay, and that way it won't be as blocky because you're using a bigger area, and so these rings in the ratio will still be able to give a nice definition for the shaping, like for circles, for curves, like right here. Okay, the smaller the smaller the units are you're using to make up the picture with, the better they're going to look. Okay. Now, we showing you the small one, right? Okay, and that's cool. So if we were going to say make the bell paper, you would go and use small rings like this because small rings, okay, are easier to use that. Okay. If you're gonna have to use bigger ones, well, that's okay. You're gonna sit there and you're gonna say you are gonna make a banner, but that's okay. Hey, I'm still making that blue moon. Awesome. Okay. So blue moon, because I'm using the bigger rings, I already know I'm gonna have to make the design a little bit bigger. So I'm gonna take this right here and use that as my template. Okay. To make that moon. Okay. And so you'd sit there and you would just take out one of the rings, look at it and go, oh, okay, cool. Well, that ring's got to be, and I know it's not the same color, so yeah, I'm going to have your indulgence in that for right now, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to figure out, okay, well, that by that nature, I need to figure out how many squares is going to fill up the ring, okay? Well, the ring itself, okay, use one of the non-equal ones, okay? The ring itself takes up that many squares, okay? Well, so you can go with this right here, and that works better because you want basically the ring, you don't want the ring to be sticking out of the squares. So you're gonna put it right there, okay? And it takes up, you see that one ring will take up this many. However, when you laid it down rings, okay, depending on the pattern you're using, okay, see? So you know it's gonna go at least 3 across, okay? And if you're compiling rings on top of it, okay, form one pattern, can be like that, okay? Or different definitions, it can be like this, but it's at least going to be 3 across, okay? And by figuring out how big of an area that ring takes, you figure out how big of an area you have to make your blocks with, okay? So this one, we know we have to go 3 across, so I'm going to go 3 across right there. All right, there we go, okay? So there's 1, okay? And you're going to count down 3 more, okay? You had 2, okay? You go down 3 more, 3, okay? Just like this one had 1, 2, 3, okay? There we go, okay? And we'll show these in really quick so that we have it, okay? There we go. Okay. And now we got to do the other blocks. Okay. So we go 1, 2, 3. Okay. There's that one right there. Okay. 1, 2, 3. That one right there. Okay. And then we went, okay. Now we're going to go over 1. Okay. So this one's over 1. So we go 1, 2, 3 here. Okay. So now that one's right there. Okay. That one's right there. And then we're going to do the one up here. Okay. And that one was, let's see, that one's at the corner. So we go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, make it a little square. Okay. Yeah, that one's just like that. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing down here. Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3 over this. 1, 2, 3 over this. Okay. And then this one had 1, 2, 3 over there. Okay. And drawing a little square or circle, okay, if that helps you out, that's awesome. Use that. Okay. There you go. Okay. Now you've just figured out the fact of how many of these squares it's going to take to do that. Okay. And this helps you get your design out, so that way you are all set to go when you start to do your chainmail. Okay. Having a good design to work with as a blueprint will help you when working with your chainmail. Okay. It is something you want to have, so your creation process is a little bit easier. Okay. A little bit less headaches. And I'm not going to give an instruction on it right now, but I might in a later video. If you ever decide to do very, very small, very tight weaves, such as, let's say, you do a 10-in-1 pattern that uses a 1/8 inch diameter ring that's 26 gauge, having a pattern down that you can use as a blueprint that you can basically overlay your chainmail on top of and see if you're keeping with the pattern. That is a very, very, very helpful thing. I will tell you that right now. I speak from experience and a bit of headaches from dealing with guesswork back then. It is also wonderful if you're doing necklaces. If maybe that's ever made a chainmail necklace, will tell you that patterns are a really big thing. Okay. And even if you're not, just making it out of a straight European style pattern, so you're doing things involving spiral patterns or rose work or any of the like. Okay. Having a pattern to go by gives you a template to go by, so you can see if what you've envisioned is going to come to pass, and you want to be able to have that. Yeah, we're just about done with this. I apologize. I'm not Bob Ross. Well, if I was, it'd be kind of cool. All right. So we have now what we have here is we have the smaller image that we can use for our smaller links. Okay. There we go. And I'll move this off here. And now we have our bigger image, which we can use for our bigger links. Okay. And so I was talking about the jewelry. If we were to say we're going to take something like this spiral weave right here, okay, and do that, okay, well, we could always do the same thing. We would just simply be, drawing out how the colors we want them to be, okay, and then going along, then just basically pattern. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to I don't want to confuse you, so I'll come back to this in a few. So what we'd do is we would simply start building the chainmail, okay? All right, and on this one, we're going to see we would use a 4-in-1 pattern, okay? Well, the 4-in-1 pattern is going to basically start having rings, okay? And each of the rings works off of, and I'm just going to do this really quick, okay? Oh, as quick as I can, okay? The rings are basically 4 connected by 1, or if you're going to a different pattern, 6 connected by 1, so on and so forth. Okay, for this, we're going to do just a 4-in-1 pattern because I do not want to keep you guys on here for the entire day. Okay. Okay, so I've closed one of the silvers. I've closed about 4 of the blues. I have an open silver. I've open blue. I'm gonna close 4 more of these silvers. Okay. I did another video about ease of building, and what I said that is one of the best things you can do if you're doing chainmail is to just open and close a bunch of your rings before you start actually putting together what you're creating. And what that does is it gives you kind of an assembly line sort of aspect. So all you have to do is you reach down, you pick up, you put together, makes it a lot easier, makes things go smoother and faster. It's very wonderful. All right, so I got 5 on there. So I got 5 silvers. I'm gonna make 5 closed blues because that'll work for this better, I think. Okay, and there we go. Okay, so 5 blues, 5 silvers, and 1 close each. Okay, now I'll get another close one too if I need to. Okay, so we have the pattern down right here. It's a moon shape. Okay, we've got our we got our silver ring, our blue rings here. We got our silver rings here. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to start making this. Okay, now we're going to take our open ring and we're going to look here. Now up at the top, okay, when you're going to start making your actual chainmail creation, you want to make sure to look at the colors, okay? Now look at this. Oh, 1 second. My cohort in crime is want to tell me a good day. So looking up here, you can see that this part right here, and I'm just gonna kind of use another color right here to mark off this territory, okay? So that way we have a clear border of how this will work. Okay, oops, I just broke the lid on that, that's right. Okay, so right here, okay, bring this down so you can see a little better. Okay, right there is our border, okay? Now, now we're gonna go with the fact that the shaded areas I didn't color, sorry, the squares I didn't color, and the shaded areas are the blues. The areas I didn't color right here, those are gonna be silver, okay? Sorry. The areas right here that I didn't color that are still white, we're gonna assume those are gonna be silver, okay? And that these are gonna be blue, okay? That will work out well for how we're doing this. So what I need to do is where I'm gonna start at, usually you want to start at corner and move one direction or the other. But if you want to, you can start, in the middle. For the purpose of this, I'm gonna start in the middle, okay? Because that way, sorry, my fingers keep slipping. I'm gonna start here in the middle, okay? And I'm gonna go down this way, okay? And what that will do is that way I can show you how to work the blue in there with the silver, okay? So, all right, now we have our, move this over a little bit, okay? As you can see, wow. As you can see, we have our, okay, this is the design for this one, okay? So we're gonna take this really quick. We're gonna assemble a, okay. Now, okay. What I wanna do first, I wanna check this out, make sure it's gonna work, okay? Now, I have one, okay, this is 1 silver, okay? Bring this down again so it's a little bit easier for you guys to see, and I will keep it on focus this time, okay? I got one silver there. Okay, that's two silver. All right, cool. Well, there's two of the form one. Now, here's the tricky part, okay? The next two ones, okay? Silver goes there. Cool. Okay, so if I'm putting silver where the white is, then I'm gonna have to put a blue where the blue is, okay? There you go. Now, sorry. Not trying to just toss these everywhere. Okay. Now, that is how that's going to work. Now, sorry, back a little bit. There. Okay, there you go. Over that. Okay. Now, when you're putting the middle ring in, the middle ring is still going to have an effect on how the color scheme is, but something to remember is this: as with in colors of any type of art you're doing, a little bit of the lighter color doesn't always have a really bad effect on it, and vice versa. Just depends on the image you're making. In this case, if we put a silver right here in the middle, it's not going to draw away too much. We could also put a blue there and it would still do the same. Okay, so we'll just work it out. Okay, but since we are doing this, what we're going to do is we're going to start mapping this out a little bit more with the other ones too. So right here, okay, we're going to put blue there. Okay, and we're just mapping it out right now. Okay, we're not going to assemble it just yet. Okay, and there's that. Okay, do you see how it's going? It's going that way. Okay, now if we wanted to start here and doing it from that point instead, we would go like this. We would bring up that one right there. Okay, and then we bring up the another silver and put a silver right here. Okay, and that's how you figure this out. Okay, is you want to take your colored rings and match them. Sorry. Apologies for a second. I'm just adjusting this. Okay, so it's easier for me to hold. Okay. When you're mapping, you've already mapped it out, but when you're figuring out how you want to do, 1 second, please. Excuse me. I had to. Sorry about that. I did not feel it if you wanted to hear me burp on camera. When you're mapping things out, okay, you take in consideration how big it is, obviously. But when you're putting down the rings after you've mapped it out, what you take in consideration is where the rings will go to make the pattern look the way you want to. Okay, so going with that aspect of what we're wanting, we're going to slide this up here. Okay, okay. Now, if you're looking at this, you can see how it's going to be taking shape. Okay, now I'm going to do something. I'm going to put this up here for just a second so I can farm me. Doop, there. Doop, a little more. I know no one wants to see the cool keyboard, so I'll leave that as much of that as I can. All right. Now, okay. These aren't closed, but we're still going to use this. Okay. So you can see how they look. Okay. Hello, Anne.
Good day.
Good day. Awesome. So, okay. Put that right there. Okay. Now you can see how it's starting to form. Okay. And I'm going to do that too. I'm going to put a couple more of these down so you guys can see it. Okay. Pull one more ring down. There you go. Okay. And we come down here. Okay. See that? There. And now you can see how it's starting to take shape. Now that's how it's going to look roughly. Okay. Now we're gonna, sorry, keyboard got stuck. Okay. Now we want to take this and make it into a practicality. So we're going to take the open link. Okay. And this is where you find out if your mapping of it worked out well. Okay. Okay. Make sure I grab the closed ones. Okay. 1, 2. We had 1, 2. We had 3, 4. Okay. Three, 4. Okay. Okay. Now we're gonna put on the first foreign one. Okay. That's how the first foreign one is gonna look. Okay. You're gonna bring this down so you can see it. Okay. That's how the first foreign one looks. As you can see how it fits in there. It's a little bit tighter. It's a little bit less space used. So we can that's where we want to check it. Okay. You want to put down, lay it down every so often so you can see how it's going to look. Okay. So we can probably fit 2 more on there before we have to go over. So that's what we're going to do really quick. We're going to put that back up there. Okay. Got 1. Got 2. Okay. Okay. Got 2. Okay. I have a third one too, just to make sure. Okay. There we go. Okay. So got enough rings. Okay. Pull it off. Say 1, 2, 3. Oops. I'm going to open one because I did not. Oh, leave one. Silver's opened. Okay. So there we go. Got one of the silver ones. Okay. And I'm grabbing a blue open one because we need that. So we're going to take what we were working on right there, pull it up. Okay. Yes. Okay. We're going to keep extending onto this form one we just started with. Okay. And we're going to add 2 more onto it because we're going to go down just a little bit more. Oops. Get my fingers. And okay. There we go. Okay. One moment. And okay. We'll lay this down for a second. Okay. Okay. Now we're gonna go down, check it out. Okay. As you can, yep, see right there. That's how many would fill up that square. Okay. Now we know how many will fill up a square too. And you just keep that in mind as you're doing it. Okay. So now we're going to add on for this square and this square. Okay. We have a blue one for that, but we're also going to need a silver one for up top. Okay. There. Okay. And so we're going to do that really quick. Okay. Now we're just gonna combine this really quick. Okay. And okay, it's gonna take a second, sorry. Okay. We're just connecting these pieces right here so we can try it. A little difficult. There we go. Okay. So okay. Now that we've assembled it, we're gonna put these down so we can see if we did it correctly and if we need to change it. Okay. So looking it down on our pattern. Okay. Now, remember, this is how the pattern was before. Okay. All right. This is how our pattern looked before. Okay. Now we're going to slide over the piece that we just worked on and see if it matches up on our design template. Okay. Okay. Well, it looks like it's progressing the way we want to, so that's working pretty good. Okay. Even though we have, we could have gone with a silver ring here, but that's okay. It's not going to affect how it's going to look overall, probably. So that's good. Okay. And what we can do is we can always put, so what we might do is we might put another blue ring for the connecting ring here because it's going to be still look good. And then we'll just have silver, blue, blue. Okay. And the same thing. So we'll go blue, connecting ring blue, another blue ring, maybe another connecting ring blue, and then a silver ring. Okay. Is everybody getting this okay so far? Okay. Now
Yep.
that's how, oh, sorry, go ahead. I interrupted you. What?
Oh, no, I just said yes.
Okay,
Sorry.
cool. That's okay. All right.
Sorry.
So this is now this was the smaller one. Okay. All right. As you saw how this was done with this small pattern, say you were going to do something in, I'm just going to show this really quick for the small pattern. Say you wanted to do a spiral pattern, right? Well, the spiral pattern is
Actually,
basically,
I'm
yes,
sorry,
go
I
ahead.
just realized you have about 10 minutes.
Right.
So just so you know.
No problem. Okay. If you're going to do jewelry, something like that, wait, okay. And I'm saying this for templates. Look at how big it is, okay? The size that you're doing, and then look at the size on your graph paper, okay? And when you lay it down, okay, look how much room it takes up, okay? As you can see, it takes up one line of squares, but that means that each of these squares you can fill in. If you're doing something like this, where you're going to have individual rings, you can, if you want to, do this, okay? Decide if you want to do multicolored rings, and then you would just do this. You shade in for only a certain amount of it because you're wanting to only use one ring of that color. And so that way, when you're doing, and I apologize if this color scheme is kind of weird. And that way, you have the colors you want in that. So if I was doing a spiral, but hey, you know what? I want to use these alternating patterns of rings, okay, well, yeah, because each square takes up this many rings. Well, that's fine. I can do 3 rings, and that ring can be orange, that ring can be blue, and that ring right there could be the green. See, that's why the template design is so nice, because it helps you keep track of your work So that way you are getting exactly the results you want, or at least at least close to what you would like. Okay. So I'm going to move this off here really quick, and so I can just show you really quick because we got like 10 minutes. However, the nice part is what I'm going to show you is not really going to take more than probably about 5 minutes. Okay. Right. See, very cool. By the way, anyone wants to use the moon pattern, go for it. I'm all happy about that. Okay. When you're drawing something out on your paper, by the way, you have to determine how sharp you want it to be. Okay. And just for the record, if you have to use multiple pages to make fully what you want to make, that's fine. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you decide that you want to use even smaller rings, which I'm not sure how you can do smaller than, the 1/8 inch, that's fine. Take a ruler, draw down the middle, draw across, make them smaller squares. It works out fine. Okay. Now, just like before, we use that ring. Okay. See how that goes right there? We'd go 1, 2. Okay. And you have to forgive me, I was making some very large chains not too long ago, so I needed the big rings. Okay. There. So, okay. Yeah, 1, 2. Now we saw with the other pattern that it was going to be at least 2 rings in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to do that. We're going to pile 2 rings there because we know that's how many it will take. Okay, 2 rings there. 2 silver ring. Oh, yeah, we'll just that. 2 silver rings. Okay. And so on and so forth. Once you understand how many rings it will take to fill in the squares, it makes it a lot easier. Then you just make a mental note, or you write down, oh, hey, it's going to take, I'm using 1 1-inch rings, and that equals 1 square. Okay. I don't know if that came out too well for CSC, but yeah. So 1/2. Here, I'll flip it around for you guys. Okay. So 1/2 inch equals 1 square. So now you know, oh, hey, 1/2 inch equals 1 square. Okay. Sorry. 2 1/2 inch. 2 1/2 inch equals 1 square. Okay, there. That's better. So you know how many of those you'll need to use per square. And that also helps you with planning out how many rings you'll need too. Because if you know how many you're going to need for that project, so like you say you have stops here, you go, oh, okay, and you go 1 2 3 4, you count down how many squares you're going to use. Oh, hey, well, I just had to use, I just figured out I'm going to have to fill up about 25 squares. Well, okay, if you fill out 25 squares and each square equals 2 rings, well, it's going to take you at least 50 rings plus the connecting rings, and you calculate the connecting rings by, going by 2. So let's just say if you have, you figured out, okay, and I'm going to need at least, 8 connecting rings. Well, there you go. You only 58 rings. Now rounded up to 60, just make sure. Okay, you need 60 rings, and then you just start counting off for the colors you need, and there you go. Oh, well, hey, I'm gonna need 1 2 3. I counted up the blue squares. I'm only gonna need about like I'm only gonna need 20 of the blue colored, in this case green colored rings, and then the rest will be silver. And that helps you to figure out which ones you'll need to buy, which ones you need to stock up with too. Okay. The purpose of using the graph paper is to make creating chainmail art, creating chainmail anything easier to do and more fun. Okay. And I hope I have been able to help you guys to understand this little trick for working on chainmail. it really comes in handy. It makes things a lot easier and it helps your projects just go so much smoother and more fun and more easier. I mean, when you eliminate any of the headaches that you have when working on a project, the project gets easier, it becomes more fun to do, and you find yourself wanting to do more and more of them. And that's kind of the whole thing with it. We want people to be able to have more fun doing crafting. And my hope is that and the classes we teach kind of help that. They help people want to do more of the crafting and to find different things they didn't know and just find more enjoyment, just like we have overall. If you have any questions, okay, just please feel free to message me. You can look me up on Facebook. Under Northern Lights. Or you can of course you can contact anyone from Golden Plains and they'll be able to let you know how to get a hold of me. Okay. On behalf of Northern Lights, I want to say thank you for letting us be part of this today. And I hope that you have a magnificent mid-rain. I know it's going to be fantastic because the people involved in doing this are just, the best people around. Some of the best people around. Okay. Now I'm going to open this up for questions. Does anyone have any questions?
I'm good.
Violet, do you have any questions? Oh, awesome. Thank you, Violet. Very nice of you. Thank you.
Yeah,
I
thank
was
you.
hoping I could explain it. I was explaining it well enough you guys could understand it. But
Awesome.
if you go ahead.
No, I say that awesome. Thank you.
There are, by the way, just so everyone knows, there are lots of people that can do chainmail, okay, in the different kingdoms. And if you are interested in chainmail, my best suggestion to you is get on your kingdom's Facebook page or just your holdings Facebook page, and especially if you're new to Amcart, and just say, hi, I'm interested in doing chainmail. I saw some cool classes and I've seen the work people do. Who can help me out with this? And you will find people just more than happy to respond and give you some insight, which path to go down to figure things out and whatnot. Okay. And don't be afraid to go to other kingdoms too. Okay. Everyone's willing to help. You just have to reach out and go for it.
Well, thank you very much. I'm going to stop recording now.